Hey everyone, Rob here from Octagon, and welcome to another Divi UI challenge. This is our sixth one, and what you should see on your screen right now is what we're going to have a crack at designing and building this week. So I guess you could call this a tile or a section for calling out a particular phone app that you might have on a landing page or something like that. Looks really cool. Let's get stuck into it. So let's go over here and go new page. Let's call this app landing tile. Sounds good. Template, blank page. Let's just quickly hit publish. Use the Divi builder. Use Visual Builder. Now we're going to use a couple of actual graphic editing tools this week. So one's a vector editing program, something like Adobe Illustrator, and then the equivalent I have for photo, what many people use is Photoshop. I have another program called Pixelmator, but it's effectively does the same sort of stuff. These are paid tools that I use day to day. If you don't have tools like these, there are free equivalents out there and about that you can have a look for. What I'm doing in them for this tutorial is actually relatively simple, but I just needed somewhere that I could do some basic image editing. So anyway, let's get stuck into it. First thing we do is we've got our section, and we're going to just give this a background color of a light gray. There we go. Next thing we're going to do is add our row, which is a 2-column row. And on our left-hand tile, we are going to have an image. Actually, let's just leave that for now. So I want to show you, so this is it's called an Affinity Designer, but it's a vector program, somewhat like Adobe Illustrator. It's fantastic, actually. I use it pretty much every single day. And what I've done is I've just created a basic shape here. And I've put a gradient over it going from this bright pink through to this burnt sort of orange. And what I've done is when I've exported it, I've exported it as an SVG image. You could PNG as well, I suppose, or even JPEG, but I like using SVG where I can. It typically reduces file size, although when you're using gradients, that's not always the case. And it's because it is a vector format, it's always nice and sharp and crisp when it's no matter what size you see on the screen. So I've already got that in my media library. So if we go for row settings, design, background image, I just called it slice SVG. You will need to upload SVG files to WordPress. You will need to download a plugin that will allow it. As by default, WordPress doesn't allow you to upload SVG files, but there's a bunch of plugins out there on the .org repo that will allow you to do that. So I have installed a plugin that lets me, so that's why I've been able to add it to the media library. Doesn't give you previews though, which is a bit of a shame, but cool. So we're also going to go to settings for row settings, main element, background, size, cover. There we go. All right, so let me just quickly remind myself what we're doing. All right, let's add our call to action in. Let's quickly get my little lorem ipsum website going. Oops, where are we? There we go. Start with button URL, button text, promoting an app. So let's go visit App Store. Just do that so you can see. We have a title. Let's grab those few characters. And then I'm just going to grab all that paragraph there. We'll turn off background, text color light, text orientation. Let's go left. chuck that in there. Alrighty. So on call to action still, header font, I believe I used Able, which is a really nice font, and we're going to bring that right up to something like that. I have this thing where I can't do, I'm not sure why, but I just cannot do odd numbered font sizes. It just, I don't know why, it annoys me. I have to do even. So 62 pixels, header text color, that's fine as it is. Header leading spacing is fine. Header line height, I might just give it a bit more. It's a bit hard to see at the moment. Oops. 1.1 is good. A bit hard to see because we've just our background shape is a little off to the side a little bit. Body font, I think I had Aramo, which is quite nice, and I'm going to make that a bit bigger as well. 16, 18. Let's go 18. Font text color is good. Body letter spacing is good. Line height, going to just increase that to 1.8. 1.7 is okay. Use border, no. Custom margin padding. Okay, custom styles for button. Let's just bring that down to 16. Maybe 18. Yeah, 18 is good. Button text color. All right, I'm going to grab one of the colors that I use. Oh, I'm going to use the pink. Hopefully you're following my tabbing back and forth. Background color, white. Border width, we can leave that. Button border color, white. Border radius, just drag that right up so we get the round pill shape. Oops, letter spacing, we'll leave that for now. Able, actually I might hit that. I'm actually going to increase the font size, the text size I should say, back up again to 20. Cool, so we do have an icon. We'll leave it for this one. Let's put that one there. It always looks nice. The round icon against the round edge of a button always looks good. Cool, because by default it's giving us a nice hover effect. We don't have to play with any of the hover settings. All right, we are going to add a bit of drop shadow. Always a bit of drop shadow. So over to good old CSmatics site. Horizontal length, let's go 0. Vertical length 20. The radius maybe 40. As always, you just play until you get something you like. Let's go 25. Copy. Oops. That looks cool. All right, we'll leave that for now. I'm just going to go back to the row settings. I do have to give this a background color of just white. So that gives us our slight box definition against the that light grey background. I'm also going to use that same box shadow, which I still have on my clipboard. We're going to paste into main element. There we go. Next, we're going to add our image. I think I did have it already there from earlier on, but I just deleted it then, and I'll re-add it. I should say, I think I already had an image module there. It didn't have an image inserted, so that's why we couldn't see anything. Okay, so obviously I have this, lovely phone app mock-up going here. There are plenty of, basically I pulled this together for a bunch of free resources that I found around the web. One of my favorite websites for design inspiration in general is dribble.com. That's dribble with 3 B's. Great portfolio site where designers go and share their stuff. I always go here to find inspiration. And I think I searched iPhone mockup freebie and found a mockup that allowed me to produce this one here, which was great. Link URL, we don't want any links. I think we're just going to center it. because we're going to add a max width. Oh, a bit too small. Still a bit too small. Let's throw 320. That looks pretty good. I think that looks nice. Looking pretty close, I reckon. Last thing we want to do is just to bring our call to action down a little bit and also give it some spacing around the outside. As you can see, it's sort of right up against the edges. So row settings, design, column 2 padding is what we're after. Up top, I think I'll have to give it quite a bit, 120, maybe even a bit more. There we go. Right. We can leave the bottom. We can leave left. I'll just do 60, that looks good. One of the great features of the Divi Builder that I'm a fan of is the ability to apply different padding and margins on for your different screen sizes. Because you'll see as we go down to tablet, it doesn't quite work. So we have to do that manually. Like this. Let's do 60, 60. That's pretty good. Actually, I might even just do 80. Great. And for smartphone, possibly even 40 should be fine. Fantastic. That looks pretty nice. Nice simple one. I guess the trick to this one was that we used the graphic editing programs, so Photoshop, Illustrator, to produce a couple of the assets. But in terms of producing them, it was quite simple. One was just the shape with the gradient on it, and the other one was just using an iPhone mock-up, a free one that was available online. So that looks fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's UI challenge and can somehow use it in one of your upcoming projects. See you next week.